Yes, in the 11 to 15-year-old age group, which we're focusing on, that is a time when video games are huge, if not before, but huge in that age group. So we know a lot about it. We have a lot of science now we didn't have 20, 30 years ago. And some of the science is just around the screen time. So if parents are asking, okay, how long ought I to let my son play video games we'll pick 13 years old, how long should I let him, like on a school night? So someone like me would argue, I probably very little if the screen time is already high. So if he's already using laptops or iPads, et cetera, at school, and we know he's going to watch a movie or get on his computer and watch a movie, and he's also using his phone a lot and he's texting, so he's looking at that screen. If you put all that together, and that's adding up to, I don't know, 4 or 5 hours a day, I'd be scared for his brain development. So then you add on another hour of video games. So I just want to contextualize video games into screen time, and maybe we'll have another question about that, because that in itself is getting really scary. For the video games themselves, they do, there are pros and cons. Obviously there are pros for spatial development, there are pros for kids who are ADD, sometimes it helps them. So there are a number of different groups that they can help. They're not an evil or anything like that. They're also very entertaining, etc. The cons are in screen time, and then the cons are when they suck these kids away from the other things the kids need to do. And one of the reasons they do that is that they're so stimulating to the brain, and they stimulate the spatial centers, the mechanical centers, the visual and the graphic centers. And those are dominant centers for males. And what we're really wanting males to do more of, if possible, is to have a balance between those centers and on the left, the verbal and the verbal emotive centers. And that hour or two, if someone lets their kids play those video games for an hour or two, it's robbing the development of these other centers, and especially in the 11 to 15 age group when the brain is pruning. It's a big pruning time. So third thing I would say is that, well, it's a lot. This has probably already become a long answer, but the third thing I would say is the video games fool the brain into thinking that they're living with purpose and with motivation and with reward and with achievement. So for a boy who is already doing great in school, he's social emotionally good, he's in Boy Scouts, he's in sports, or whatever he is, and he's great with his family, he's not isolated, he's getting a lot of physical exercise, I wouldn't actually worry about him with video games. He's fine. But for that boy who's showing any difficulty in social, emotional, physical, he's getting obese or something, not moving around 2 hours a day, which he ought to be doing, and he's having achievement issues, he's not doing well in school, that's the guy I would especially worry about, because the video games have worked on his dopamine receptors and convinced his brain that he's achieving a lot, but he's not. And these are the 3 areas we need him to achieve in, so he has purpose and motivation and a self. So in those cases, I would worry.